couple of recommendations here about securing your CA hierarchy. One of those recommendations is that you can restrict the right to renew a CA certificate. And what this means is that the right to add a new certificate type to an issuing CA is different than the right to renew a CA certificate. So this prevents an administrator from renewing a CA certificate and then changing the issuing ability of that certification authority. Another thing you can do to secure your CA hierarchy is to implement constraints between CA servers through the use of rules. And this is especially beneficial or something that you would implement when you're implementing a trusted CA hierarchy, and you would do this on both CAs in the trust relationship. There are then, when you implement constraints, there are several different subcategories of constraints that you can configure on these trusting CAs. One of them is a basic constraint, and the basic constraint specifies the number of CAs that can exist below the CA where the constraint is assigned. Now, this is something, by the way, that it's not recommended that you do on root CAs, but rather on subordinate CAs. And what it can do is that it can limit the number of certification authorities that are below the CA where the constraint is configured. Other types of constraints you can put in your CA hierarchy in a trusted relationship include a name constraint, and this designates the namespaces. So it allows for the specification of certain namespaces that the other CAs in the hierarchy will trust, and that is a pretty self-explanatory type of security. Say only things from beanlake.com or landscape.com will be able to be trusted by CAs in a given hierarchy. So you could say this CA will only trust CAs from a certain namespace here. Other types of constraints you can apply include application constraints, and these require that a certificate must contain the application constraint in order for it to be valid to set up the trust relationship. This will allow you the ability to specify which applications will be recognized between the trust relationships for purposes of authentication, encryption, and so on. And then finally, a policy constraint will allow you to limit the trust to only certificates that map to the trusted organization, or specifically to object identifiers in the trusted organization. So all of these constraints you can implement, as well as you restrict the right to renew a CA certificate. All of these things can be used in conjunction with one another to help you secure your CA hierarchy, and these are certainly things that you should be familiar with come test time.